All right, we should be good to go. Let me just wait for it to pop up. Good, perfect. All right, guys, well, I told you we're gonna have this call with Rachel Hollis, and I was just telling her before the call, we're in a very intimate setting. We're in my bedroom, and that's because we have nursery construction going on and doors being installed. Of course, it falls on this day, and kind of goes to show with this business and any business owner, you kind of have to just roll with the punches and show up the best you got. I got
Absolutely.
about big baby in my belly. She's been going crazy. Like, I have watched you on Instagram for probably the last like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Things have unfolded. First of all, your following has grown by like 50, 60,000 people.
It is the craziest. I've never seen anything like it in the world. I think as an influencer, you know, I won't be disingenuous and I won't say that, like, I know there are people like, oh, it doesn't matter. No, it actually does matter a lot. And so, you know, as a company, we're always trying to figure that out. Like, how do you grow? How do you grow? And it's hilarious. You're like, oh, you just write this book. It'll just go just by itself. It'll just grow right away. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
You know, I think it's not just any book. And I was thinking about this as I've obviously read and listened to the book and shared it with other people. And I'm like, what is it about this specific book that seems to be resonating so much with people? And I think it works really well with what we do as business owners in Beachbody. Is, you know, we're sharing our lives and we're connecting with people and helping them to get started on their fitness journey. What resonated most, I think, is that you're telling everybody's truth by telling your own.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah.
I hope that's what, hold on, I'm shutting off my own Wi-Fi because I feel like my phone's now interviewing, just so you guys don't think I was looking at text while I was talking to you. I think that was my intention was, I honestly, when I sat down to write it, I just thought, let me write about the hardest experiences of my life. Because what I've learned in this work over the last handful of years is that anytime I speak my truth or I talk about the hard things, other women are like, oh my gosh, me too. That is my story. I dealt with that. I struggled. So I felt like if I could just similar for all of us. So, you know, body image issues and relationship issues and being a mom and being a sister, daughter, wife, like all the things that we have walked through that kind of put us all on equal ground, that maybe the women who read it would feel some solidarity and like, man, you're not alone. You are not the only one who has walked through that space.
No, and I think that, I'm sure you've heard this, but I keep seeing all of these women saying, oh my gosh, is anybody else in their car crying right now as they listen to the chapter, whatever, you know? And it's like,
yeah, that's no, honestly, I've never experienced a reaction to anything like this book. This is my sixth book. Well, it's my sixth book. And what a gift. Like, I'm so grateful for. It really has been a very slow, like my career in no part, I hope, you know, for those people who are like, it feels like it's taking too long, or it feels like I'm trying all these things and it's not working. I'm like, girl, this is a decade of work for me to get here. And I'm so grateful for that time to build up to this place, because all of a sudden the direct messages and the emails have increased tenfold. And I think getting those notes like, oh, I'm crying, or this is my story, or a lot of times women, because they'll read my hard thing, then they want to share their hard thing. So it's just so much coming at me, which is a lot to process and feels like a lot of responsibility. Like, oh gosh, I don't want to respond or say the wrong thing. So I'm so grateful that it has touched people the way that it has. And it's also a lot.
For sure. And I think that maybe speak more to that, because I had some people that asked questions prior to this call. And one of the things was, you know, did you always know a decade ago when you started this, did you have the big vision of where this was going? Or did it kind of start off as a smaller dream that you took small steps towards, and it's just kind of unfolded the way that it is right now?
Yeah, 100%. I knew, to be truthful, like totally transparent with you, the only thing that I knew as a young girl, and if you've read the Hustlers edition of the book, you might already know this. I grew up when my family really struggled financially, and that painted a lot of the chaos and arguments and trauma of my childhood was my parents fighting over finances. So the thing that I knew for sure from a very early age was was that not having to worry about money mattered to me a lot. And I started working like any normal person. I started working, but I really began to believe that the way that I could truly control, like I knew like I have a high school diploma. I'm not well connected. My family doesn't know anything. I don't come from money. I didn't have any of that. But the one thing I had was I am the hardest worker in the room. And I always have been. And I felt like if I was an entrepreneur, if I owned my own business, I could control my success. I felt like, man, I'll be the first one to start. I'll stay up until midnight. I'll do all these things to get it to where I want it to go. I could never, ever have imagined this in my wildest dreams. I just always knew that I would get to a place where financially I was secure. And that was honestly what I was working for from the beginning. So I started as an event planner, and then I started a blog as a way to promote the event planning company, and the blog gained popularity. And for a long time, I was most known as a food blogger. And I really, you know, if I could encourage everyone watching in this or listening, I have always just followed the signs of life. I have paid attention to what my audience and my clients were asking for. And anytime someone said, hey, can you ... even if it was something I didn't really know how to do, but I felt like I'm smart enough, I could figure that out, I jumped in. Because again, I would go back to this idea of, even if I don't know, I can do the work to figure it out. So yeah, I couldn't, honestly, I was a food blogger, and then I was really on my own personal growth journey. I was reading every book and going to every conference and really working on that. And every once in a while, when I would mention it on social media, the audience would really respond, hey, can you talk more about that? What books are you reading? What conference did you go to? And I just paid attention to what they cared about and kind of leaned into that space. So I knew I was going somewhere, but no, I could never have imagined that here was where I was headed.
I love that advice, because so similar to my journey, like came from the same exact background.
Yeah.
And it is so true. You have to listen to what people are wanting from you, and to start off in the food area sector of the business and event planning, and now to be doing a book, you know, like the one that you just wrote.
Right? Yeah.
Very different, you know.
So different.
That's the kind of thing about this type of business that all of these coaches are in. I always say, like, it's your vehicle to help you get to the other dreams that God has for you, and you'll be surprised on how and where that journey takes you. But you've got to listen to those little whispers. You're like, huh?
Yeah.
Try that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too. Oh yeah. No, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, like, it's one thing. Obviously, anybody can get excited about a dream, and it sounds really sexy. Work for yourself, and oh my gosh, you know, have all this Instagram fame and all. Okay, very, very different from starting that journey to actually finishing that journey. And what, you know, obviously what we just talked about, that you experienced this huge growth that took a decade. What do you do? Like, how do you maintain that enthusiasm throughout that period of time when things aren't growing the way that maybe you expected, or they're not showing up in monetary fashion?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that that's probably really important to talk to, particularly if, you know, you're sitting here and you're listening to Lindsay and I, and we're telling you all of this stuff, and you're, a lot of times you're going to accidentally or on purpose fall into comparison. You're going to start comparing your life to ours, your Instagram following to ours. And I like to remind you guys, do not compare your beginning with my middle. You know, I really have been working at this for 10 years to get to this place that I'm at. And I have seen a lot of growth in the last, you know, few months since the book came out. But I think also that was because I had years of laying the foundation for where we were headed. It really is about just, man, I'm going to keep taking another step. I'm going to get up. I can't even tell you how many years you're like, man, nothing's working. I don't know how to, I guess I go back to, and not totally understanding exactly how y'all's business works. But I would say I go back to, like, what is working? What are those signs of life? What are people responding to? I think this a lot with social media. People sort of just, they're all over the place. They put a little bit of, like, everything, they're doing everything, and they're not paying attention to, like, if you go through your feed right now, What got the most likes? What got them? Hey, do more of that. This is not about, it's like giving the people what they want and using that as a vehicle, like you said, to organically be able to talk about your business in a way that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So you'll see, if you really went through my feed, and maybe you would say the same thing, like you're going to see similar, it's not the same picture, but it's the same kind of thing, because I know that that's what people respond to. It's like anything else, you know, brands for a handful of things. I know when I go into the Apple store, I know what to expect. I know when I go to the Cheesecake Factory, I know what's going to happen there. Like, I know that, right? And it's the same thing. People want to come to expect something specific from you. So I think pay attention to what people are responding to. I think it doesn't have to be as hard as you're making it. Like I've talked to a lot of gals who follow me who do direct sales, direct marketing, that kind of thing. And for the most part, no matter what business people are in, I'm lucky in that I get to talk to some of the highest earners in these companies. And I'm always at like, what works? And I have heard across the board, from the Stella and Dots of the world, or the Cabbies, or the Noondays, or y'all, you work for companies that you believe in. And maybe you would say too, everybody has told me, like, I feel like the company really gives you the tools if you will listen to what they are telling you works. I have heard that over and over and over again, that they'll be like, I'll try this, I'll try that. And when I just go back to that advice and wisdom that I've got from my team, that I've got from my leader, that I've got from the company itself, because guess what? They care about you making sales. So they're trying to give you the tools to do that. It works if you work it.
So totally agree. People overcomplicate it. And I honestly think that there's a part of us that makes it more complicated because that gives us an escape out.
Sure.
You know, it's the escape. Oh, it's so hard, or nobody wanted it, or whatever. Mm-hmm. When you're going on this journey, what do you think, looking back at your journey, what do you think were the top 3 contributors that maybe some dreamers miss when it comes to what they think of as important?
So the first thing that pops into my head, and this is a chapter in the book, is I don't take no for an answer. I really have believed since I was a little girl that I was in charge of my dreams and my destiny. And I really pushed for what I wanted to happen. And I also did not give myself a time limit for them. I think, you know, it's interesting because I was working on the next book, which is all about goal setting and achieving. And I've heard so many things about the idea that, you know, you have to have a timeline. Your dreams have to have a timeline, or a goal is a dream with a deadline, or all of that stuff. And I think it's great. But also, y'all, if I had given myself a deadline, I would have quit a long time ago. So I think that I have been really laser focused on wanting to get somewhere, but really open to how that manifests in my life. So that's 1. 2, years ago, when I was an event planner, I went to a class at a conference that still is the greatest title ever, which is, but are you making any money?
Love that.
Right? Your Instagram's beautiful and like, oh, she's so cute and all of these things, but are you making any money? Because we are business women here, or are there men here too? I don't know. Okay, we're business people here, and we need to take ourselves seriously. This is a business. Whatever it is that you're working on, this is a business. What I am doing is a business. And you have to ask yourself, is this all just a facade, or am I making money? Because paying attention to like that, the signs of life thing, what works? Like, hey, I know when I'm just going to make this up, but like, I know when I posted about my product on Instagram, I sold 3 units. And I know I went and did a trade show and I tried all this stuff and it was so cool and I met people and I got to travel, but I didn't really get anything from that. But man, that's sexier and more fun. But are you making any money? Like, what was the thing worked? And keep doing it. So not a willingness to not take no for an answer, paying attention to what financially was beneficial. Gosh, I think probably, that sounds so cheesy, but I really am one of the most positive people you'll ever meet. I wake up every single morning, and if I'm not in a good mood already, I'm going to do the work to get there. I'm going to do some gratitude work. I'm going to pray. I'm going to write in my journal. I'm going to dance around with some music. I want to be the best version of myself every day. So, because if I'm the best version of me, then I can show up for this team. I can show up for my babies, and I can be the kind of wife I want to be to my husband. That's a choice that you have to make. And I do think that the habit of reaching for positivity is what got me through the really hard seasons, or when I wasn't getting clients, when work was low, when just like it helped me to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
I totally agree. And I love that you said you are a business owner. Each of these guys, and that's one of the things I try to drill down as much as I can. But any person that you see, a Rachel, any author, a Brendan Burchard, or whoever, you guys are just as much owners of your business as they are. And, you know, on every single post or Instagram story or live or podcast that you do, at the end, you say, hey guys, if you haven't already, got my blah, 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 you know, the thing that is your product. Because at the end of the day, though I love this job, and I get to wake up and help people, that's awesome. But the people I'm showing up for the most is the family that I have to support.
Yes.
And I think oftentimes people become apologetic, especially in this type of business where you're apologetic, you feel weird asking people for the sale. And that's probably, for a lot of you guys, the thing that's holding you back from really going to the next level. So own it the same way a Rachel would own that she look and share with people.
Yeah. You know what? So I am lucky I get to speak at a lot of direct sales conferences and sales conferences, things like that. And something I will hear over and over, I don't know, I haven't done anything with y'all before, so I don't know if you would say this is you, but I've definitely heard other women in that kind of business, and they'll talk about it and they'll call it a hobby. Like, oh, my hobby, I have this hobby, this is my thing, whatever. Like, at the very least, call it a side hustle. At the very least, like, take it more seriously. I feel like we call it a hobby because, like you said, we don't want to own it. Makes us feel uncomfortable. Like, oh, I don't know if I'm a mom. No, but sister, what would it look like to your family's life if you're able to bring in more income? How does that change everything? Maybe you don't need it to survive. Maybe it's just because you're going to get to go take a great vacation this year as a family because you've brought that in, and like, what kind of pride is going to come from that? What does that look like in your life? But at the very least, you have to take it seriously. Stop apologizing for, you know, what it is that you're working on. You were called here for some reason. And I think, like, I totally understand that feeling of like asking for the sale. Like, it feels so, it feels like that if you are not 100% all in, like totally believe in the product that you're selling. Great. Because when you're like, it's like, I love, you said Brendan Burchard, you and I share a mutual love. When High Performance Habits came out, people thought like I owned a part of that book. I talked about it so much. I don't know him. I just was like, this is such an incredible book. I would not stop talking about it. And I didn't feel weird about that at all, because I thought, if you read this book, it is going to help you. And I think with Girl Wash Your Face, I feel the same way. I feel like, I know based on the response from women that this has been really powerful for them, and I believe in it. So I have to get out of my own way and not worry that someone's going to be turned off. If someone's turned off, they can stop following you on social, period. Also, just a really tactical piece of advice there. You can even spy on my Instagram feed and see how we do this, but we keep talking about this book, but we do it in like 6 different ways. So hopefully it doesn't feel annoying that we keep talking about it. So we have quote cards. There's pictures of me holding the book. We're doing fan created flat lays and things like that. We're sharing little blurbs. There's all sorts of different, so it keeps in your feed, and maybe I'll do similar stuff. Like, first I'm going to share a shake, then I'm going to share a workout, then I'm going to, and if you're not sure what to do, follow the people who are killing it in your field. Follow the people who are doing direct sales, maybe totally different products. You can kind of get some inspiration for how people tout it. It doesn't feel alienating to your audience, but it's still an easy way to share that lifestyle and that product and ask for that sale.
For sure. Love that advice. And so true. We have to be sharing this in a multitude of ways, and it hasn't just changed our lives in one specific way. Yes. If it's something that's a turn off to you, probably don't do it. You know?
Yeah, totally.
To you. So one of the things, that pops in my head as I talk to a fellow entrepreneur is obviously as a woman, there's sort of like this work, life, faith, kids balance that you have to go into. Is there anything that's really helped you to be able to do that, you know, as you've gone through obviously having the 2 boys and then Noah and transitioning?
All the children. I have so many children. Learning to ask for help and learning to not be ashamed of being a working mom. And I think that there are lots of people who will either on purpose or not on purpose try and make you feel shame about that because it wasn't their journey and it wasn't their path. I am a better mom. I'm a better person. I literally love my job. And so, I am like so much more fulfilled and happy because of that. And I think it's possible to do both things really well. And I think that, a lot of times for years, we sort of I don't know if you feel this way, but I definitely bought into this idea that the perfect mom was a stay-at-home mom and she volunteered for the class every day and she did all of these things. And I tried it and I hated it. Honestly, I love my kids, but that's not what I was made to do. And I respect the crap out of women who that is their journey, but it's just not mine. And so that meant that I had to let go of any guilt or shame surrounding that idea. I think mommy guilt is a lie, and I don't buy into it. Don't buy into the hype. And also that meant that I was going to have to ask for help. I was going to have to ask for help from my husband. I was going to have to ask for help from childcare. Lots of people on the internet get really angry when I say that I have a nanny. I'm like, I have a baby. I don't know. And we don't have any family nearby. So it wasn't an option for me to like, oh, my mom's going to stay with the baby. So, and maybe there's an idea that if you have a nanny that you like get to take naps all day and eat
your children. That makes sense. Yeah.
She comes when I leave for work and hands me a kid when I come home at night. So, so I think you have to, honestly, the greatest gift we could give ourselves is just letting go of other people's expectations for our lives. And do what works for you and what works from your family, because you will spend a lifetime trying to meet other people's expectations for you and then get to the end of it and you're like, well, everyone was happy but me. And I was miserable and I was bitter and I tried to handle too many things and I'm carrying too much on my back and all of this stuff. When if you just would speak up and say what you needed and how that would look for you, how you could do this really well if you had some help, man, you will just be such a happier person. You will show up so much better for those babies. You will show up so much better for your partner if you have one, because you are telling them what you need, because you're taking care of yourself instead of trying to only feed everybody else and take care of everybody else until you're running into the ground.
Amen. That was probably the part that I was like high-fiving you when I was reading the book, was the part about going to the classroom and not really the moms in the thing. And I'm like, yes, so me. I'm that weird mom that
you're like, one of these things is not like the other.
I'm not good at that stuff. So why spend your time doing the things that I, like you, love my children, everything I do for my children. And so you guys that are out there that are kind of struggling with that, maybe because you always did expect yourself to be that stay-at-home mom, or maybe you had that stay-at-home mom or whatever. I'm still a stay-at-home mom and I'm here all day long, but I do have a nanny. Yeah. And it has been the biggest blessing ever, because when I'm with my children, I'm fully with them. And I'm all about quality over quantity. I can give her, 10, 12 hours of just halfway engaged, tired mom, not happy mom. Yeah. Give them a few hours every night of just super overjoyed mom that's going to set the example for them of what I want them to be. And so I choose that mom.
Yeah, love that.
I appreciated that chapter of the book because it needs to be said. It's so important. Really, guys, this is the biggest blessing. If you want to be a mom that's present with your kids and a badass wife, go live your calling. Then you're the happiest person ever. Okay, last thing. When it comes to network marketing, and I know that you said that you've had a couple experiences with other leaders from other companies, it's a little bit of a different business. It has a stigma still attached to it. I feel like we're just the way that you are addressing some of the issues of old school mentality and crushing some of that. I feel like we're working our way out of that as well. but I'm sure that you've experienced the pitch both ways. You've seen some are like the
yeah,
all those like the way to do it, and then there's ways of like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
From an outsider's perspective, you know, if you were to be in their shoes, what are some of the things that you've seen that maybe have been turnoffs and maybe have been like, that is good?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, so my business is built around social media. For the longest time, so I own a media company in Los Angeles. That's what my business is. That's what supports a staff of people here, is clients coming to us and asking us to take on social media campaigns or offer advice or strategy for them in that space. So I know the power of social media. That would be where I would go. Like if I was deciding that I was going to do it tomorrow, I would be the queen. And in fact, I've actually seen a handful of companies now are tapping into influencers who already have huge fan bases and having them be reps. And I'm like, well, that's freaking genius. But I would super embrace that. I would, if y'all aren't already listening to the Goal Digger podcast, which is Jenna Kutcher's podcast, she does such fantastic interviews with people who are killing it in digital marketing. So it's someone who just really knows how to do Facebook, another person who really is great on Instagram or email or whatever. That would be a great place to start for you. I would pay a ton of attention to, like I said, who are the leaders in your field? Who are the leaders in other companies similar to yours? Because what you're probably going to need most is content, right? You're like, I'm down, but I don't know what to put up, where, or how. So pay attention to what other people do. One of the things that Jenna says that I love is, like, for instance, Instagram. I don't know about you, but Instagram, I have way bigger numbers on Facebook, and Instagram sells way more things for me than Facebook does. So it's a really engaged audience. The people are super present. It's pretty. Nobody's having a political debate. Like, it's just all good things, right? So she says your Instagram should be like 5 topics only. So you're just like, whatever the 5 pieces are of your brand, and yes, you need to think of yourself as a brand, what are you known for? So like fitness, I'm like pregnant. I'm like thinking of these gorgeous pregnancy photos right now. This sounds ridiculous, but you also have really good hair and makeup all the time. And I do care about that. But like, what are the things that you're most known for? And then how do you incorporate your product into those things that you're most known for? So, if you are like, for instance, punch me in the face if I'm wrong, but you guys do a shake. Is there some kind of like, yeah, okay, great. So if I was going to do what you're doing right now, I would just incorporate it organically into stuff that people already know about my life. So like, for instance, I travel for work a ton. So instead of being like, here's my shake, I would be like, oh my gosh, thank God for the shake, because I am on the go constantly. It's so easy. I can whip it up no matter where I am. I would find a way to incorporate that stuff organically into my life. So I think and I've seen this in, like, you know, you get on Facebook and like your cousin all of a sudden is selling something and she doesn't know better. So she just, oh, sorry, hold on, you guys, this is like such real life. Let me just tell my husband I'm on a video call. I will call you soon. Sorry, he sent me like 17 texts. That was real life. You know, like your cousin or whatever, all of a sudden starts selling something and she just, same thing over and over and over. And it's annoying. There's no value in it for the people who are following. Like, what is the value that you're adding in a way that's like, how can you share stuff that's relevant to what you're talking about or selling and become known as an expert in this space, so that other people are like, man, I want to know, like, what is she up to? How did she lose all that weight? Or why is she looking so good? Her skin looks incredible. Like, what's going on with her? So that organically they're reaching for that, instead of you beating them over the head with the fact that you're selling LuLaRoe. Like, we know, April, we know that you're selling LuLaRoe. We're good. So I think, like you said, if it makes you feel weird when you're you probably shouldn't post that. Yeah. I also think, 972 hashtags feels like you're just trying to sell, feels like you're just trying to get more followers. I think there's a way to do that gracefully. You know, you share 5 or 6 that are relevant, But if all you're doing is a billion hashtags, then it feels like you're not taking care of the audience that you have. You're just trying to get new people.
Amen. So one of the things I thought about a lot lately, and just how big influencers are. I mean, major brands are no longer doing commercials, or no longer spending their whole marketing dollar on commercials. They're finding people to build an influence in an area of expertise or passion for them, and they are getting them to promote their products. That's legit what you guys do.
Yeah, totally. That's honestly, yeah.
You get to bring it a whole nother level. The only difference is you then get to go find other influencers who can then rep that brand, and the better they do, the more income you make.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I mean, it's like, think locally. Who are the local influencers? And I don't mean someone who has 100,000 followers if you live in a small town, but like, hey, you know that this hairstylist in your town, like all the cool, cute girls follow her because they all get their hair done by her. Could you do something with her? Could you collab on something? Could you have her sample products, or do it so that you're finding a way and she's telling people like, oh, this is my person. Could you do that organically and make it work for you? Sorry, train's gonna go by again. Real life. Yeah, I think locally. I will tell y'all. I'm gonna interview a gal who, I don't know if you know Noonday Collection, which is direct sales as well. They do jewelry, and I was a speaker at one of their events a couple of years ago. She is, I think I'm not going to misquote this, for like 3 years running, she's the highest revenue earner in the company, and she lives in a town of like 500 people. So you're like, wait a minute, because that's what, from what I know, that's like a big, like, nobody in my town wants to buy it. I don't know, nobody else wants to have a thing. Nobody. She's super smart because she uses social media, and she decided that if she knew anybody in any other town, that was now her town. Yeah. So she cast her net all over the country, and she's the highest revenue earner. She lives in a small town in Oklahoma. So I think the limitations are what you decide that they are. And if you've decided that this is hard, then it is. If you've decided that nobody wants your product, then they don't. I hate to make it sound so simple, but it really is at that you tell yourself that you've got.
Yep. And when you guys deliver awesome stuff, people want to share just as readily as you guys have shared about Rachel. You know, how many of you guys have shared, oh my gosh, you guys have to check out this book, with so much passion, but you like hold back on, hey, I drink this shake every day. I love it. I love the way it's made me feel, but I'm not going to tell you about it because you might think I'm selling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, unguarded you are with sharing, and keep doing that, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's like, you have decided you're buying into the stigma. It's the same as the whole like mommy guilt thing. Like, I can decide that that's real and that I should feel ashamed for having a job, or I should decide that I define my life, I define my values, and speak from that place truthfully. If people stop following me all the time. Like, people send me notes all the time. I'm like, great, I am not for you. I am not everybody's cup of tea, and you won't be either. And that's okay. But I think it's exactly what you said. If you were as passionate about what you're, I don't even want to say what you're selling. Like, this is a lifestyle. And I think that that's something that you do really well, Lindsay, is like, it's a lot. I'm like, maybe I need to have it. I want to look like that in my I want a pregnancy shoot that looks like that with the special braid. I need that life. It's a lifestyle. It's not a product. That is probably, I didn't say that, but that is the number one piece of advice that I do when a company calls us in to consult with them, is you're trying to sell a product and I'm selling a lifestyle. I am showing you how this fits into my world. What does this look like? And knowing your platform, right? So if you are on Instagram, let's say, Instagram is a totally different platform than Facebook is. It has a totally different demographic. The people are interested in different things. The content needs to look a different way than it does on Facebook. And you have to know that for things to be successful there. Here's a great example. Instagram is pretty photos, straight up. Pretty photos with natural light. That just is the reality. If I put the same pretty photo on Facebook, nobody likes it, because Facebook is a more, they want more like realistic. What is real life? If my hair's in a bun, if I look like garbage, if I'm still in my pajamas, 5,000 likes. If I look pretty and my hair's like blown out and whatever, nobody responds to it. You have to know your audience, and you need to serve up your content in a way that makes sense for them.
And on top of that, before we end this, you have to stop letting go, or you have to let go of the excuse that, well, I don't know how to do that. I'm not good at photos. I'm not good at that.
Girl.
Get over it. I wasn't
either. Yeah, Google. It's called Google. Honestly, I have built this company. I've built a multi-million-dollar company with a Google search bar. That is the honest to God truth. Every single thing that you want to know right now, you can start with basic, like how do you kill it at Beachbody, to very niche, like how do I make an Insta story video that's exciting? How do I sell better on Instagram? How do I do a Facebook Live without sounding like an idiot? Like, I swear to you, anything you want to know, you can Google right now and find so many answers to. So stop that excuse, because it is one. The information is out there. It's like, I know I said this in the book and I'm quoting myself, which is super douchey, but it's, you know, success is deciding between what you want most and what you want right now. What you want right now is to be comfortable. What you want right now is to stay in bed. What you want right now is to watch, you know, a Netflix show. That's what you want now. But what do you want most? That means sacrificing a lot of what you want now so that you can have that life that nobody gets to have. You have to make the choice today and every single day. Man, I'm going to do the stuff that other people won't so I can have a life that other people can't. Okay. Woo, I just went Pinterest quote on you.
Well, I think that's like the perfect way to end it. I saw in the comments somebody was saying GTS, Google that shit. And I'm like, yes, we can end it right there. That's all the things you need to know about this business, or any business, is that you have a plethora of knowledge. You have people to watch that obviously have already cut the path. And all you have to do is implement. And every single one of you is ridiculously capable of anything that you put your mind to, but it will take grit. Rachel said it took her a decade to get where she is today. And I bet you don't regret a single bit of it. You know?
Nothing's wasted. Nothing's wasted.
That much joyous when you reach the top of the mountain. And I know you're still climbing. I know you have big goals.
Yep.
We're excited to follow you along the way as you achieve those things. Now everybody believes you're going to do it. Not necessarily.
Totally.
That's the difference. But guys, you have to first believe in yourself. And I hope, if you have not already made the decision to go and get Girl Wash Your Face, that you will go get it on Amazon. It's available. I love the audio. Thank you for doing the audio. Like, I love books that the author is the one that's saying, because there's so much more in-depth feeling and passion behind it. So thank you for that. And go follow her on her Instagram. You can get so much just from seeing how raw she is on Insta stories, how she's relating to her audience. She knows who she's speaking to, and that person feels spoken to. And so they want to follow it and watch more. That's exactly what you guys have to do, even if your audience is not exactly like her. So thank you so, so, so much for taking the time. And good luck with your move with having Noah be a new streamer. And
I know. We'll get there somehow. Come hell or high water, we're going to get to Texas.
It's going to be fun. And the ride will be crazy, but gotta roll with it. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. Watch this one over, share it with your teams. Make sure that you go grab the book. And I look forward to reading the next one that she just finished, like a week ago, right?
Yeah. It comes out in March.
Awesome. All right, Rachel, thank you so much. We will see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye.